One day, Tatsu's wife's parents went to visit their daughter. The gypsy son-in-law is quite compatible with his mother when he talks about housework all the time. The father-in-law wanted to talk to Tatsu, so he asked him if he liked dogs, but Tatsu thought he was referring to the cops, so he said he didn't like it. The father invited Tatsu to the park to play catch the ball to deepen the father-in-law's love, but when he caught Tatsu's thunderbolt, he fell on his butt. After a hard day's work, Tatsu's wife came home tired. Tatsu prepared a whole plate of food for his wife, which is ginseng salad, lotus porridge, mixed mushrooms, stewed chicken with star anise, fried pork with mushroom sauce. The wife ate it deliciously, and after eating Tatsu prepared lemonade to ease digestion. He also prepared an automatic head massage machine, an eye-warming mask, a foam film to squeeze out stress, and a foot massage mat. Tatsu had stood aside to sift beans to make a sound like the ocean to help his wife relax. But the wife was even more stressed when her husband was so attentive that she ran away to take a bath. Tatsu sat outside and tried wearing a massager with an eye-warming mask and soon became addicted. When Tatsu went to the supermarket to buy discount goods, he met the owner of the Tori gang Hibari, a big sister of the gypsy world with excellent beauty. It turned out that this woman broke up the gang after her husband died, and now works as an employee at a grocery store. But the boss seems to be a novice, so Tatsu had to guide the arrangement of goods properly. When it came to the payment, the boss miscalculated one item of Tatsu. Seeing that the big sister was being rebuked, the juniors wanted to rush in to dry blood with Tatsu. But Hibari made all of them apologize because it was the store's policy. Today is Tatsu's birthday, so his brother Masa and his wife decided to have a surprise party. But neither of them know how to cook, so when Tatsu got home, it was a mess. Tatsu had cleaned up his wife's battlefield, and in no time had decorated a birthday party. Even from what his wife broke, Tatsu made 3 plates of cakes. He was given a pair of glasses and a cool necklace by his wife and juniors. Mrs. Trung Hibari was taking out the trash when she saw the Tatsu family's cat. Her aunt couldn't bear to play with the cat. At that moment, the Tatsu passed by, making her aunt embarrassed and scolded him. Tatsu was going to the supermarket to buy things with his wife when the wife rushed over. It turned out that there was a performance of her favorite anime play in the supermarket lobby. The wife enjoyed taking pictures with the anime character but was shy. So Tatsu volunteered to act with the character to ask for a photo opportunity. Looking at Tatsu's murderous face, the MC invited him up for fear of cutting his throat. He stepped up with a dangerous face and suddenly pulled out a tablecloth and 2 cups. Tatsu poured wine and then suggested to both sides to make peace because violence does not bring happiness. The show ended gently, making the audience and the MC all freeze, but in the end, Tatsu's wife was able to take pictures with her idol. Masa and his brother were suddenly given an oven by someone, so they brought it to ask the big brother how to use it. Tatsu was overjoyed as it would take his cooking skills to the next level. So he immediately pulled out the flour and yeast from the suitcase to make a cake, and Masa fumbling kicked the electric wire, causing the oven to fall to the ground and fail. The man was suffering for his sins when Tatsu pulled out the rice cooker. After a while, he also successfully baked the cake with the rice cooker. Masa took it and it was too hot, so he threw it right in the face of the big brother. Once while drying clothes, Tatsu heard the smell of burning from the neighbor's house, thought there was a fire, so Tatsu rushed over and it turned out to be a black guy making barbecue. The black man invited Tatsu to eat with him, but because the smoke was too much, the 2 generals coughed. Tatsu had to open the door to let the smoke out and then get water to extinguish the grill. Turns out the black man missed his hometown, so he tried to make his father's barbecue but didn't know how. Tatsu dragged the black man down to the open ground and started to prepare a standard barbecue, when suddenly 2 policemen came to ask about it. Tatsu sacrificed himself to prevent the 2 of them from letting the black man eat the barbecue, but in the end he couldn't eat the rare meat. Youth Torahiro, after returning to his salary, went to sell double cakes. But all day he was depressed. Seeing some schoolgirls drinking some kind of water, he went to ask Tatsu. Tatsu said the drink is called bubble tea and it's hot on Instagram. Tatsu then took Torahiro to buy things to make milk tea. After having fun all day, the 2 guys also made pearls. When adding milk tea to try, Torahiro almost choked because he swallowed a big buffalo leg. The eco girls at the shop with milk tea were also going to buy it, but seeing the dangerous faces of the 2 salesmen, they immediately found a way to fall. After all, there was still a group of delinquents who came to buy Torahiro's 6 cups of milk tea. One day, Tatsu led the Masa to what he called the most powerful organization in the country with over 20,000 members, which turned out to be a 100 yen store chain. When Masa said that there was nothing here worth using, Tatsu immediately gave him a slap. He began to lecture his junior about the benefits of household appliances. For example, the orange juicer. Without it, the meal would be gloomy. Even the flags that decorate the plate can change your life. Masa was enlightened to the idea of housework and began to absorb all the knowledge about home appliances that Tatsu taught him, but until the end he still didn't know what this was for. One day, while going to check the discount at the supermarket, Tatsu came across Goda's hand from Hiraka's gang that he had cleaned up. He suddenly pulled up his shirt and pulled out a mic and started rapping. He's also not average, so he picked up the mic and shot a house rap song. The two were fighting fiercely when Tatsu accidentally criticized the strangely dressed Goda, causing him to fall into depression. He used the meat theme to continue the battle rap, but just a few sentences was eaten by the stall owner. Goda also picked up the mic and played a few sentences. But because of the mystery, he bowed his head and gave up. Today, Tatsu's wife went on a business trip and didn't return until the next day, so she advised him to relax for a day. So Tatsu decided not to wash the blankets like usual, but only sprayed with perfume. The clothes were not folded, but hung Nguyen in the closet. While making a cup of noodles, Masa came, so the two generals turned on the electronic machine, then went to the park to play cans with the black man. After playing for a while, Tatsu decided to go home to the market to cook rice, but Masa insisted on making the big brother relax. So he dragged Tatsu home and munched on snacks and surfed his phone, but after a while, Tatsu couldn't take it anymore and asked to scrub the bathtub. On Halloween, Tatsu's wife asked to go to the mall to participate in a costume contest. Hearing about the reward of a year of free rice, the guy immediately agreed, and when he arrived, Tatsu saw that both Hibari and Torahiro were also attending. Big sister Hibari disguised as a witch with a talent for calculating goods by abacus, Torahiro disguised as a gangster who was slashed, but because he was so disgusted, he was kicked down. The Tatsu couple dressed up as pumpkins and even bribed the judges with a plate of pumpkin-shaped butter cookies. And in the end, the winner is a little girl with a bat costume. Tatsu's wife decided to drag her husband to a restaurant buffet. Tatsu had planned to eat well and took out a full plate. By the time he finished eating, the guy was fed up, but he was still determined to eat dessert. Going to the food counter, he encountered Torahiro's hand, and the two fought over the fruitcake. After fighting for a while, I finally lost to the aunties. Tatsu lost his way to the table, but fortunately his wife still managed to get a seat that made him cry. One morning when he returned from the market, Tatsu suddenly felt dizzy, discovered that he had contracted the flu, so he immediately ran home to make honey lemonade to drink. Inside Tatsu's body, it was like a great war between viruses and white blood cells. In order to quickly recover from illness, Tatsu also took his wife's vaporizer and steamed a pack of cold medicine. Finally, take out a blanket and sleep. But when the tide comes, the fever is higher. Tatsu collapsed in the hallway, and when he woke up, he found his wife taking care of him. She even grinded a whole cup of vegetable smoothies that looked very scary and then put it straight into the Tatsu's mouth. By evening, he had no fever but had a stomach ache. Tatsu and his wife brought Masa to a pub to celebrate the new year. After that everyone was drunk except for Masa guy. The wife hugged her junior and laughed like a good harvest. Tatsu always slept in a standing position from time to time. Today, Tatsu went to a baking class and encountered a sassy young man who also learned to make cakes as if he was very rude, so he messed up with something. Tatsu asked why he wanted to make a cake, and this guy said he wanted to give a Valentine gift to someone very close to him. When Tatsu heard that, he helped the other guy make a real cake. Although it was not beautiful, it was quite complete. In the end, it turned out that this delinquent brought the cake back to his big brother. A friend of Tatsu's wife named Yuriko was upset because she did not know how to manage finances, so Tatsu's wife called him to help her friend control the spending in the house. Tatsu had said that if Yuriko was still healthy, she could use her body to earn some extra dong, which turned out to be a crazy ride on a bicycle to hunt for bargains at the stores. At home, Tatsu also showed her how to save water when washing dishes and personal hygiene. In the end, Tatsu asked her to pull out her receipts to calculate the monthly spending cuts. When she looked at the withdrawal history on her husband's card, Yuriko saw a large amount of money being withdrawn, but she couldn't remember what she used it for. In the end, it turned out that Yuriko's husband had used the money to buy her a present for her wedding anniversary. Tomorrow is the first day of the special anime DVD promotion. To get it, just go to any store and say the movie's tagline. Because it's a limited stock, Tatsu's wife is busy tomorrow, so she asked him to hunt for her special album. She made Tatsu repeat the movie's catchphrase over and over again to remember. The next morning, Tatsu went straight to the anime store and along the way he recited the catchphrase over and over, but even so he didn't forget to stop by to buy discount cabbage. A lot of things happened along the way, so when he finally got to the store, he forgot what the catchphrase was. The few sentences he came up with were no different from the threats of the gangsters, which terrified the saleswoman. Fortunately, a fat guy came and read that catchphrase correctly, so Tatsu succeeded in getting a special set for his wife. The fat man also said that at another store, if two people read the catchphrase and do transformations, they will get a rare card. So the two guys quickly went to that store, but after the tailoring was done, the salesman announced that the rare cards were sold out. One day, seeing his junior crying in pain, Tatsu asked him if he had a toothache, but Masa was afraid to go to the dentist so he denied it, and he just got into a fight with 50 guys. Tatsu knew that his younger brother was a liar, so he advised him to go to a musician. Masa had to admit that when he was a kid, he was obsessed with dentists, so he was afraid to go to the dental clinic. The story is that when he was young, Masa's mother took him to buy candy but ended up taking him to the dentist. Masa was shocked because he was tricked by adults and haunted since then. So Tatsu had to beat him up and drag him to the dentist. When they arrived, the two brothers looked like they had just been chased by someone. One day, after watching a horror movie with his wife, he couldn't sleep. No matter what, he thought of the scene of the gangsters stabbing and killing. Tatsu had jumped up to drink a glass of milk and then made a whole plate of salmon with walnut sauce to eat to relax his spirit. After eating, Tatsu felt sleepy, but when he took a nap, the sound of lock-clack in the house woke him up, turning out to be his cat pooping. This is the end of the movie, thank you very much. Please subscribe and press the notification button to wait for new videos. Goodbye and see you all.